All right, welcome. This is DB talking now. DB talking birds, DB talking Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I just listened to Doug Peterson's press conference from this morning, and Doug Peterson was asked, what can you do to get Jalen Hurts comfortable going into this week's game against the Saints? The 10-2 Saints, the number one ranked defense, New Orleans Saints, the number one seed in the NFC, New Orleans Saints, without Drew Brees at the helm, Taysom Hill at the helm. What can you do to get Jalen Hurts, your rookie quarterback, comfortable? Doug Peterson says, well, we can probably utilize the run game a little bit more, probably do a little bit more screens, do a little bit more quick completions, get the ball out of his hands a little bit quicker. Are you kidding me? Are you absolutely kidding me? Now is the time. Now is the time for you to want to utilize the run game a little bit more. Now's the time, Doug, where you want to start thinking about possibly pondering the fact that maybe the run game is a good idea to take pressure off of your quarterback. Why in the world is this the scenario that is getting Doug Peterson to realize, oh, now would be a great time to utilize run game. Now would be a good time for us to find alternative methods so that we can make our starting quarterback a little bit more comfortable, because let's be honest, shit show. The supporting cast is an absolute nightmare. Now, look, I understand that Jalen Hurts and Carson Wentz, they both possess a different skill set. Jalen Hurts is a little bit more mobile. He's a little bit more nimble on his feet. He'll be a little bit more nimble in the pocket back there. Tits and 50 some odd sacks. 50 sacks in 11 and a half games this season. All media outlets in general have been clamoring for you to utilize the run game a little bit more. The run game where you just so happen to have a stud running back in the backfield who's averaging about 5.5 yards a clip. Why in the world is this the scenario where you decide it might be a good idea, Doug, to ponder the running game a little bit more, to get pressure off your quarterback? It makes absolutely no sense to me. It makes absolutely no sense to me. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. Glenn Foley was on the 94 WIP Good Morning show this morning with Angelo Cataldi. Glenn Foley is someone who has been a quarterback in this league, has a pretty good pulse on what it takes to be a quarterback in this league, and a pretty good pulse on what front offices are possibly thinking, what goes into a successful offense, and what just flat out does not work. Now, Glenn Foley's been around a West Coast system. Glenn Foley's been around a system similar to the one that Doug runs here in Philadelphia. And Glenn Foley went on to say, I'm very familiar with coaches like Doug Peterson who have come from the Andy Reid tree, the Mike Holmgren tree, the Bill Walshes of the world. Those coaches are guys that want to do everything they possibly can to find the successful quarterback that they need to run their system, and then they just want to let it go. They're going to have complete 100% faith in the quarterback. whether rain or shine. Come rain or come shine. You have faith in your quarterback. Now that sounds fairly accurate if I were to correlate it to what Doug Peterson was saying 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. Well, we know Carson's struggling. We're aware of that. We're all very, 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 very familiar with the fact that Carson is absolutely just sucking ass this season. And what did Doug Peterson say 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago? He said, well, Carson's struggling. We know that. These are things that we just got to work through. We're not going to bench Carson Wentz. That's not what we're going to do. And what was he asked 4 weeks ago? When possibly thinking about moving on from Carson Wentz to Jalen Hurts, he said no, because I think that would insinuate us pretty much insinuating that the season would be over. And what does Doug Peterson go ahead and do? Well, actually, I'm not even going to say that. I'm not even going to say that because I'll go ahead and get into that in a little bit. But what do we go ahead and do? We bench Carson Wentz and we go into Jalen Hurts mode. So what? Is the season over? Well, technically, no, it's not over, because despite the fact that this record and team has absolutely been sucking the entire season with only 3 wins under our belt and 1 tie, we are 3-8-1, and somehow we are only a game out of first place in the NFC East. So technically, the season is not technically over. So Doug completely just continues to spew nonsense at each and every press conference he decides to put himself through this season. But that leads me into my next topic. I don't think Doug has any control whatsoever. And if that were the case, if what Glenn Foley was saying is correct, then the truth of the matter is Doug probably doesn't have control. Maybe it wasn't Doug's decision to bench Carson Wentz. Maybe Doug didn't want to bench Carson Wentz. You know, there have been plenty of reports coming out all season long that Howie has control and final and say over who starts and who doesn't on game day. And before I go ahead and elaborate a little bit further on this, that is 100% absolutely a problem. A man with no background experience, a man who continues to fail each and every draft that you seem to have year in and year out, has say over who starts and who doesn't. What the hell are we doing? What the hell are we doing? If that's the case, then Doug's hand was forced. There's no shot in hell Doug would start rookie quarterback Jalen Hurts against the number 1 ranked defense in the New Orleans Saints this week, let alone the most prolific offense and one of the most creative minds at head coach in the NFL at 10-2 this week. Why would you throw your rookie quarterback into the Lions' den? And into the Lions' den, I mean the entirety of the New Orleans Saints organization. You wouldn't. No head coach in their right mind would ever do that. Not even Doug Peterson, who, believe me, has seemed like he's off in limbo land many times throughout this entire season. He seemed like he's been off in fucking limbo land. And he probably still is. But the other thing that Glenn Foley went on to say is that this decision was a sign of the fact that he believes that Doug and Carson are already on their way out of the building, that the house cleaning has already started. The cleaning ladies have already showed up. They've already left the building. They've shown up. They've left the building. Cleaning ladies, cleaning men, whichever service you decide to hire, or whether you just want to do it yourself, you've already gotten the job done, according to Glenn Foley. The question is, How the hell are they going to do that with Carson Wentz's contract? These guys are married to this quarterback. So the best case scenario would to be, I don't know, maybe figure out how you could possibly fix your once upon a time designated franchise quarterback who in his second year in the league was going to become the MVP. Maybe stop bringing back an ancient offensive lineman for starters. Maybe put in a little bit more resources in your offensive line or do a better job of it. Or maybe get a GM who actually knows what the fuck he's doing when it comes to draft day. Excuse my language. Don't worry, I checked the not made for kids bubble on YouTube. I can do that. Howie Roseman has to go. General Manager Howie Roseman has to go. Adam Lefko brought this up on his podcast, joined by Brian Westbrook. We know Brian Westbrook, former beloved running back for the Philadelphia Eagles. Just imagine. Back there in the pocket, you have a comfortable quarterback in Carson Wentz, and you want to know why he's comfortable? Because he's got DK Metcalf over there on the left-hand side or the right-hand side or wherever they want to line him up. And then on the other side, they've got Justin Jefferson. And Carson Wentz is feeling good because he's also got a healthy Miles Sanders back there. Now, you might say, well, DB, that's stupid. Hindsight is always 2020. Well, yeah, hindsight is always 2020. But the thing is that it's not technically hindsight because we knew that those are going to be good decisions. We knew that when we didn't make those decisions to draft either one of those players, it was going to be a mistake. And here's the other thing. It is not stupid to picture that image, that daydream, if you will, because of this very reason. They drafted players at those respective positions in that draft in the same exact rounds. A year ago, with the first round pick, we took offensive tackle Andre Dillard. Now, fans in the media all suspected that we would take DK Metcalf with that pick. We didn't, and that's fine. However, Andre Dillard is injured and on injured reserve and is going to come back and not going to have a starting spot because he lost it to a former rugby player. Really? Is that what we're going to expect out of our first round picks if Howie Roseman continues to be GM? Is that they're going to be backups in a year or two? Great. Anyway, within that same exact draft, the second round pick comes around and DK Metcalf is still on the board. Now, granted, a lot of other teams have already passed up DK Metcalf to this point. But what do we do with that second round pick? We take a wide receiver. We wanted a wide receiver. So we took a wide receiver. But we took J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, who at the time nobody had really heard of, unless you actually do watch college ball day in and day out and do your research. But you know what? The only thing that was really going on through our minds was the fact that DK Metcalf was still on the board. And guess who was taken 2 picks later? DK Metcalf by the Seattle Seahawks. Guess where J.J. Arcega-Whiteside is now? I don't know. Is he still injured? He's not active for game day. He's still on the team. Good job, JJ. Good job. He's like the 6th string wide receiver at this point. While DK Metcalf is over in Seattle blowing it up and looking like the next Megatron. Following year, first round. We were all expected to take Justin Jefferson because that is who we wanted to take. That was going to be the better pick at that point in time. But we took Jalen Reagor. Now, I have nothing against Jalen Reagor. I really hope that he continues to progress and pans out. He had a nice game this past week against the Green Bay Packers. Nice game. Nice game. But Justin Jefferson is over there in Minnesota blowing things up. Rookie of the year. Rookie of the year. It's absolutely beyond. It's absolutely mind-boggling. It's absolutely mind-boggling. Now, the increase in interest is this. Fans are wanting General Manager John Dorsey. The only way that that's going to happen is if we can get Howie Roseman out of Philadelphia. That's more difficult than is said. There's a reason why Chip Kelly castrated this man to the fucking boiler room. There's a reason for that. He didn't want he didn't want him anywhere near Jeffrey Lurie. Because I hate to break it to you, no matter how much us as Eagles fans love to hate Orlando Scandrick because he is a weasel himself, he has been 100% correct on this topic, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles are not going to correct their shit until Howie Roseman is out the building. But my theory is that Howie Roseman has already spoken to Jeffrey Lurie and has already come up with a plan in place to keep his job and get rid of Doug Peterson. Because it's either going to be one or the other, or it's going to be both. And knowing that the snake weasel that Howie Roseman is, it's probably something around that atmosphere. I'm always open to comments, suggestions, opinions, anything you think, because we got a lot to talk about. It's a shame. It's a shame because this has nothing to do with Jalen Hurts. This has nothing to do with Jalen Hurts. These problems, these struggles, these miscues, all of this hogwash that has been going on in Philadelphia this season has nothing to do with Jalen Hurts. But he's caught in the middle of it. Unfortunately, I feel for the guy. I don't want to see Jalen Hurts struggle. I don't want to see him fail. I don't wish that upon Jalen Hurts. I want him to succeed. I root for the Birds, first and foremost. Out of everything else, I want the Birds to be in a place where they are back to a level of succession that makes everyone happy. But I'm also a little pissed off. And my emotions and feelings are absolutely all over the place. And I will tell you why. Carson Wentz has been completely and utterly flanked by this organization. Absolutely. And I've never seen anything like it. You give a man a 4-year, $128 million contract extension. You tell him he's going to be the guy, and then you take a quarterback in the second round, and you expect that not to have some sort of altering effect on your franchise? A negative altering effect on your franchise? What did you think was going to happen? What did you think was going to happen? when you fail to get this guy talent, when you fail to get offensive linemen to protect him, when you fail to do this, that, this, and the other thing, and you fail to put him in the best spot to succeed on game day, he's 80% more accurate when rolling out of the pocket. That number might be a little bit hyperbolic, but still, the percentage of you successfully completing chunk plays while Carson Wentz is rolling out of the pocket is a lot higher than it is when he's standing back there with no offensive line to protect him. And these clowns threw him under the bus. Okay. Carson Wentz was the only one taking 100% accountability for the entire fault of everything going on in this for this franchise this season. The only one. There's no other reports of any other player stepping up and taking accountability. Carson's the only one. And yes, a lot of it is his fault, but a lot of it is the fault of the supporting cast. A lot of it is the fault of the coaches not putting him in the best positions to win. A lot of it is the fault of Howie Roseman, who has failed over and over again to accumulate talent for this franchise, let alone Carson Wentz. Howie Roseman, on the other hand, by the way, there are a ton of respectable people in the Eagles franchise who wanted Justin Jefferson with that first round pick, and then they wanted safety Jeremy Chin with the second round pick. And it came to arguments on draft day. Plenty of reports about it. But Howie Roseman ignored the people that he's supposed to listen to on draft day, the people that are telling him who they want on the team, i.e. Doug Peterson, i.e. Jim Schwartz, i.e. any of the other coaching staff, Press Taylor, whoever else it was. Honestly, the only opinions as far as the coaching staff I really listen to is Jim Schwartz and Doug Peterson. Because who the fuck is calling the plays these days? I don't know. Nobody does. Nobody knows who's calling the plays. No one. Doug is so lost and confused, and you want to know why? Is because he's not running the show. Doug's not running the show. He doesn't know what to say. He hasn't been running the show since they fired Mike Groh the day after that Doug Peterson said, yeah, he's going to be on the staff. Doug Peterson has not been running this show the entire time, and I want to get to this point. I was not the only one. There was plenty of other people that when we hired Doug Peterson, he looked like he was going to be a puppet for Howie Roseman. And guess what? There's only one person that kept Howie Roseman from complete control over over Doug Peterson, over this coaching staff during those first 2 years. Frank Reich. Because Frank Reich wasn't going to let Howie Roseman tell him what to do. That wasn't going to happen. Frank Reich is gone. We hire Mike Groh as the offense coordinator. The following offseason, the day after press conference, Doug Peterson says, yep, Mike Groh and Carson Walsh are going to be on the staff going forward. And a day later, both guys are fired. Doug Peterson has not had control over this thing for a long time. For a long, long time. But now that you've benched the guy who was taking 100% accountability for everything going wrong this season, you have nowhere to go. You have nowhere to go. Jalen Hurts is walking into the lion's den. And I hope that he succeeds. But But we're going to continue to talk about this as the week goes on. And I appreciate all of you joining me. Thank you so much. This is DB Talking Now, DB Talking Birds, DB Talking Philadelphia Eagles. I'm Dylan Brown. I'm your host. Stay safe, stay healthy. You all have a beautiful rest of your Wednesday. Go Birds.